Hi guys, I just want to share with you my take on worm bins. I work at a school and they buy mayonnaise in these buckets, so I decided to try a few of these and test them out. Now I basically use two buckets, and at the base of one of them there are a load of holes, and there are air holes at the top. So these are the two buckets. This one has the holes to let air in, but it also has holes at the bottom. That allows water to drain through from this bucket, and I collect the residue in this bucket, which makes it easy to sort it out. Now you can probably see here that's some of the drainings. It's the worm tea or worm poo plus some castings. I think now's the time to it's been going some time as far as the worms are concerned, and I think that most of the activity has now happened. So what I'm going to do next is to show you how I sort the worms out. Now you only have to do this probably once every 3 or 6 months, and the reason that I'm using the small bins is that they're much easier to handle. So if I want to harvest the worm tea or the worm poo, it just comes out the bottom, and I just lift this bucket out of this one and I can easily tip out the contents. The advantage of that is that it's much easier to handle than a much larger bin. The purple thing you can see is just a sweet container that happened to fit exactly the right size, and that gives me a spacer so that we can also get air in coming from the bottom and water can drain out. I'd advise wearing gloves simply because with the gloves you'll spend less time trying to get your hands clean. Right, so this, by the way, is a cement mixing tray. It's been used, but it's fine for sorting the worms out. Now, if you look on the top there, that is some cardboard or some litter at the top, or bedding, depending on how you want to call it. I use that for allowing the worms to come up, and it creates a natural type environment. Worms love cardboard. Now the cardboard that hasn't been fully eaten can be recycled or used in the next worm bin, so nothing is wasted. And there's a few worms here just sticking their noses up. Bit of plastic shouldn't be in there, so that'll be recycled. Okay. There's a couple of the smaller worms. I hope you can see them. They're basically juveniles, but all the worms seem to love the cardboard. Right. We also have worm eggs. They start off yellow, they go darker as they get older, and then they'll hatch. You'll get between 3 and 21 hatchlings out of each cocoon, so they're certainly worth keeping. It's also useful having a number of small containers around. These are just old ice cream containers that you've got to do in one hand. But as I sort through the worms, I'll be pulling out the eggs and the worms in another. You've got to remember that worms don't like light, so they will very quickly bury themselves to the bottom, and you can add a bit of peat damp peat to make them more comfortable. So I'll put some potting compost in where I'm going to put the worms, so they'll be able to bury their way down. Okay, and that's where I'll put the worms. So on to the main event. I'm just going to tip them out. There we go. Here you can see on the top, that is the black gold, the worm manure, the castings that you're after. So I'll put that in the bucket with the worm tea. Put that over there. You can also see the holes that are in the bottom of the bucket. That's purely for letting the excess water drain down into this bucket. So here we go. That's come out quite clearly. That's a surprise. Immediately you can see there are worms here. So hopefully you'll be able to see those. There's a couple. You see that thing there, that's where they breed. The banding is where the worms, who are hermaphrodite, you need 2 worms for them to breed. That band becomes fertilised by another worm, and then the 2 of them will each slough off the band, which then becomes that cocoon. So let's put them in the dark and let them get in some shade. Oops. There's some more. Another one. And another one. You can also see a lot of castings here as well. Yeah, worms. Loads of them. Worms basically don't like light, so in order to get them, make your job easier and to get them to congregate in one place, you make like a pyramid and gradually let the thing dry out. The worms will then move to the dampest spot, which will be in the centre of the pyramid. There's another worm egg there. There's a big one on that side, and you can see the little worms chewing their way through this stuff. So there's 1, 2. There's a nice big worm there. Mature. They're starting to have bands, so that would be good breeding worms. There we go, masses of them all the way through. There we go, loads more worms there. And again, more and more worms and cocoons. So we just break this up a little bit. More and more of them. Worms don't like lights, they will move away from it and they will move to a dark corner, and their natural habitat is damp, dark places. So there's another one. Another cocoon. Some more worms. Another one. Breaking them up slightly. Another one. And another one. Okay, so loads in here as well. Right. Okay. Of course, the purpose of this is to, my objective at the present moment in time is to breed as many worms as I can. They do multiply very quickly. They should double in number every 2 or 3 months. So the objective is to increase the number of worms, because the more worms you have, the more manure or compost they will eat, thereby recycling. So this here is a mixture of manure which the worms came in. I collected some manure from a local stable, and it was chock full of worms. That's why I decided to start the worm bin again. I did try this about 20 years ago. Didn't have much success, but there's so much information out on YouTube, different people trying different things. You can see what you like. You don't have to spend any money. I mean, this was a few bags of horse poo and recycled plastic. You can use any sort of container, it doesn't have to be these. 2 that fit together would be great. I believe in recycling, so these things are only generally used once. So it's, for me, to my mind, it's good to have the ability to recycle them, and at least they're getting a few more outings before they go back to be recycled. Again, there's masses of cocoons in there. They stand out quite well when they're young because they're bright yellow. So that's enough for the moment. I'm going to stop the video here, and I'll do another one once the pile is dried out. It's a very hot day, so hopefully that won't take long.